Namaste, Jai Bharat. Doshaika Drukatva is a Sanskrit expression. Doshaika Drukatva should mean perceiving only dosha. Let me translate that as the negative alone. Any phenomenon that is presented in front of you, one tends to look at the negativity. Now, I don't think there can be any phenomenon either full of positive or full of negative on a general presumption. So, a phenomenon, whatever, could be mixed with degrees of variations. So, when one looks at only the negative aspects of a phenomenon, that is called Doshaika Drukatva. Now, this is a personality disorder, personal disorder. But what triggers me to speak of this is many of the videos which you come across on the internet. I have a good friend who keeps sending me such videos, which of course is Doshaika Drukatva at full length, but then that is not an innocent Doshaika Drukatva. It was deliberate. It is deliberately done to demean what they don't like. They don't like, and they put all the accusations which are actually which should actually be affecting them on the opposite party. This is not even argumentum ad hominem. It is not even argumentum ad baculum, but it is some kind of argument ad populum plus ad hominem plus ad baculum, etc., etc. All kinds of fallacies are built in this expression. Now, most of them, those who speak, they speak against the Vedic Dharma. One very good looking gentleman was saying, making a quotation from the Rigveda, saying that Rigveda 8 mandala according to him, and a sukta which he says that women are lesser, women are inferior, women are less intelligent, and so many narratives, which actually simply comes out of the Sharia laws, with which he is more familiar with. So he looks at the Rigveda with that perspective. Okay, he says Indra is the ultimate principle in the Rigveda. There's a lot of reference about Indra, that's all right. But Veda is not the final word, in the sense there is something called Vedanta also, which talks about what is ultimately real. Then all these deities are, how their deities are explained. You don't have to bother because you are not concerned about it. And then the same person who is so struggling to find quotation from Rigveda should have looked at the Vak Sukta, where how a woman is looked at. Of course. Then the Nasadya Sukta and the concept of Rishikas. And he says Upanayana is only for men. No, who says that? This is because the narratives are created. These such people, such video makers, make these videos maybe because that they are making a living out of it. Fine, let them make a living out of it. But all these accusations and arguments and fault findings are only against the Vedic Dharma, the Hindu Dharma, the Sanatana Dharma, the Vedic Dharma. Why don't these people who are non-Hindus, in most cases, and a few communists, why don't they try to correct themselves? Sometime back I told, make your own house in order. before accusing others. They just relentlessly, continuously go on finding fault with the Hindu Dharma in all kinds of things. They use cars, they use this, go to the extent of picking up something from the Vedas and speaking about it. He doesn't understand the Vedas are not the end of knowledge. Anyway, that is not meant for these people. So he has an explicit purpose to speak about such things. Then another person in his video, these videos are very lengthy, runs to more than an hour sometimes. Another person says that nationalism is a nervous illness. He is talking about today's context. He says nationalism is a nervous illness. He doesn't use the word nervous illness, he says it is nervous sickness. You should better call it as nervous illness. The term nervous illness I borrow from the Asterix comics. Nervous illness. Because, and he says, he says another thing. He says in Varanasi, only Muslims are evacuated from some place. I had been to Varanasi, maybe 2 months before. Nobody ever told me about such incident, and they must have evacuated for some purpose, but it is not the case. Only Muslims are evacuated. Then he talks about the reclaiming what we are doing, reclaiming of monuments and reclaiming of streets name, reclaiming of places name, etc. You don't want me to reclaim my own ancestry? You have changed the name of Prayagraj to Allahabad, which is not a Bharatiya concept. Then you have this mark, that mark in Delhi and many other places. And Karnavati is termed Ahmedabad. We have not yet reclaimed that. Then he talks about, he goes even to the extent of talking about Taj Mahal. It is going to be reclaimed. And he says these are all Mughal great architecture. I tell you, Mughals have not brought any technical know-how from wherever they came. All the monuments, whatever they made, were made by Bharatiya Muslims. They are Bharatiyas. They have changed their religion. That's a different story. They have changed their religion, but they remain Bharatiyas. They are created by Bharatiya Muslims and not by somebody else who came from outside. Such people, through such videos, wanted to say that somebody has come from outside and made all these things. That is not the case. Somebody has come outside and ruled majority, many parts of our nation. But many people of us got converted into Islam. But the creation was done by Bharatiya Muslims. Whether one is Hindu, Jain, Buddha, Sikh or Christian, a Bharatiya is Bharatiya. And they say that unity of Bharat is a myth. Many people say that the texts which Hindus treat as holy, Ramayana, Mahabharata, they call it as myth. As if other people's rigid texts cannot be applied the same criteria. The same criterion or criteria can be applied to all such texts if they say this. Let them think it is a myth, but let them also consider their own text could also be called as a myth. If this is myth, then that is not a myth or what? People try to make it as, wanted to say it's history. Fine. You can treat it as history. We have no objection. Problems are with you. You wanted to say that this is not real. And they all want to be secular. They want whom to be secular? They want the Sanatanis or the Vedic people to be secular. They themselves do not want. They themselves cannot be secular. I will make the passing reference. See, a theology which insists I am right and you are wrong cannot be secular. The only knowledge tradition which talks about Egam Sat Bahuda Vadandi is Sanatana Dharma. You don't want to look at that. You simply wanted to find faults and say this is not good, this is not good, that is not good. Nationalism is a nervous illness. Of course, nationalism is a nervous illness for those who treat or who say nationalism, nation is necessarily an instrument of oppression in the hands of bourgeoisie. You try to find out who said this. For such people, it will be nervous illness because they have got very, very clear vested interests and they have their interest to promote. Do you think such people are good for the good of the world? No. No. Anyway, another thing they think, Bharat is never unified. Many people say that Bharat was never unified. They think Akhanda Bharat and all is a simple thought. No, son. You're wrong. Because you don't understand the unifying factor of Bharat. It is not geography, it's not language, it's not religion. You know what unifies Bharat? That's the Sanskriti of Bharat, which is based on a knowledge tradition, which is not the case with many places. And you are a part of this Sanskriti. And you have the freedom to speak against Hindu Dharma. Nobody will tell you anything, nobody says anything, but why don't you exercise at least 2% of that freedom on your own religion? Then you will get fatwas after fatwas. Somebody will do something to you. We are not that, we don't. Then you want to claim to be peaceful, fine. We don't want to hear, we just want to see how you talk about coexistence. These Doshaika Drukatva people, Doshaika Drukatva is a personal disorder which is rather innocent. It's a phenomenon which is in Sanskrit tradition. But they had no idea that people will deliberately tell such things with all focused interest, and they think they succeed, and they had been doing it for a long time. You can find fault with what we do. Go on. Your ancestors had not succeeded. You think you will succeed? Go on. Let's see. Anyway, Doshaika Drukatva, Doshaika Druks. Those who do that, Doshaika Druks are normally innocent. They don't have ulterior motives. It's, I told you, a personal disorder. But when people wantingly become Doshaika Druks, that let them do. Let's see to what extent they can go. Anyway, Namaste, Jai Bharat, Jai Shri Ram.